Oh, Jesus
Mike's
Christ.
hot.
I'm not. God,
Dude,
God damn it. No, I'm
what
I'm
is
muting
what
myself.
is
Go
the
fuck
difference? What
yourselves.
is the difference between a sound and a bay?
Alright, that's the question for the night. I'm muting myself until I.
You can run from this argument forever, but it doesn't mean you'll lose or win it. It just means it'll be there. That sounded better. That sounded more ominous in my head when I was thinking it, but apparently it didn't come out the way it was supposed to. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's episode of Locked and Loaded. And yes, I'm actually here tonight. We are your hosts. This is Sergeant Buck,
How's it going?
Poveros. Answer the fucking thing, Pov.
Answer the damn phone.
Answer me, Pov! I know you can hear me!
I'm fucking driving. Eat a dick.
He answered.
Yeah, you
I have the power. And myself, Smart Pig 2150. Good evening.
Oh man, it has been a week. Not a bad week, just a week.
Yeah, I know how that feels.
I'm trying to work out a whole bunch of financial shit. Trying to juggle juggle my student loan payments, and I'm looking at trying to move out of my
Get the
folks'
hell out of
place.
your parents' house?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know how that is.
And it's like shit. So
And I'm kind of going through the same thing myself. I'm supposed to be getting a raise this quarter, because I'm in my own vehicle now. And when we did our last quarterly review, it was implied, no, it wasn't even implied. It was outright stated. You will get a raise when you get in your own vehicle. I was like, all right, sweet. And then I asked about it this morning. It's like, yeah, no, you'll get a raise starting next quarter. I'm like, okay.
if you say so, that's a little. That's
what
not what
you
I was
said.
told.
That's not what you said last review, but I will go with this because what am I gonna do? Quit?
Yeah.
I need this job.
Yeah.
Freaking this week is just my TV died
Oh.
on Tuesday. Yep. Came
Ouch.
home, was watching Lucifer on, was it Lucifer? No, I was watching freaking Ninja Assassin
Okay,
on
I
Netflix.
haven't heard of that one. All right.
It's a movie that came out in like 2006-ish.
Okay.
It's like
That name is way too on the nose.
it's like somewhere between B movie storyline and gore and A movie production value.
Okay.
So like they made this movie specifically to harken back to like the old B movies of the early to mid 90s that were fucking amazing. But they put in the production value of a AAA title of the time.
Okay.
So basically everything made by Michael Bay and Zack Snyder.
Sure. It's a good movie though. I loved it. Freaking loved it. But right in the first 20 minutes of the movie, freaking the backlight on the TV died. I'm like, what the fuck? No.
That's not supposed to happen.
So instead of me having money in the savings account, which is what I was intending to do with the last of the last half of the my tax return, freaking I ended up having to go out and get a TV. It is by far a better TV and less expensive at the same time TV as the TV that I had,
Mm-hmm.
because the TV that I had was bought back in 2015 on no 14 2014 Black Friday sale.
Mm-hmm.
It cost $400, almost $500, the TV by itself. And this new TV is 8 inches larger diagonally. Giggity. 4K capable.
Ooh.
Well, no, it's 4K, and costs $100 cheaper.
That's nice.
So significant upgrade
Mm-hmm.
for three quarters the price.
Not bad. I had to drop $300 on a new windshield.
What happened to your windshield?
It just had this really big crack going from one side to the other.
Yeah, I've actually had to replace my windshield 3 times.
Like in the last year? Or just
Twice
in the life
in the
of
last
the car? Oh, geez.
in the life of the car. The first time, my former stepson went to kill a bug,
Uh-huh.
and he hit the windshield with his fingers all pushed together because he was holding a tissue because he was a little pansy,
Uh-huh.
and fucking spider webbed
That's
the
impressive.
the passenger side.
Oh, man.
Windshields in newer vehicles are designed to be easily broken from the inside,
Yeah.
so it doesn't take that much force from the inside to do that.
Oh, he was on
it's-
the
it's what they're-
inside.
Yeah, he was on the
Okay.
inside. It's what they're designed to do. And like
Okay.
I couldn't get mad at him because he
Yeah.
didn't mean to do it. And the look on his face when he saw the look of sheer shock and distress on my face, and then he looked back and saw the sheer damage he had done, it was priceless. The poor kid. He doesn't think he ever lived that down, and he's like, he never had to live it down in the first place, because I've done some monumental fuck ups with cars and windows
Yeah.
when I was younger than him. But got that replaced in 2017, October
Okay.
2017, because I just didn't have the money or the gives a fucks to get it replaced. It was fine. It wasn't blocking my vision or anything.
Yeah.
And finally got it fixed because the ice storms that went through made a crack from the spider web grow straight across.
Yeah.
And people were driving around with big, huge sheets of ice sticking to the top of their car. Whenever the ice broke off, it would land right on my windshield.
Yeah.
Fuckers.
Yeah, that's basically what happened with mine. It started out kind of small on the driver's side, and then just the hot and cold of defrosting, and then the fucking snow just made it worse.
Yeah, pretty much. The second time, I had literally had this windshield for 6 months,
Mm-hmm.
and a truck kicks a rock up off of the road because he went off the road a little bit onto the gravel of the shoulder.
Uh-huh.
Kicked up a rock and hits my windshield so hard that it literally spiderwebs the windshield from the outside.
Oh, god damn it.
And the only reason this happened is because he started spinning his fucking tires, trying
Jesus.
to get onto the road ahead of me. It's like, instead of just waiting for me to pass because there was nobody behind me,
Uh-huh.
he decides to slam on the gas so he isn't behind me.
Fucking
Yeah. So that was the second time it got replaced. Thankfully, the insurance paid for that. Um,
Mm.
the third time was a similar incident, except instead of it being one large rock spider webbing, it was about 18 small rocks chipping in 18 different places,
Oh,
all
God.
in the same incident for the same reason. Some asshole in a fucking lifted truck decided to get on the road as fast as he can to get in front of me, spun his tires, and flung gravel at the windshield of my car. Thankfully, there was a police officer right there that had promptly pulled him over and gave him a massive ticket. Because as soon as it
justice.
happened, I pulled over, got a picture of what
Uh-huh.
happened. I got a picture of the damage so I could make the claim.
Mm-hmm.
And freaking, as soon as I get out of my car to start taking pictures, the apparently the cop car was right behind me and saw what happened.
Yeah.
Pulled the guy in a truck over immediately, and then arrested him for fleeing the scene of an accident.
Oof. Shit.
Yeah, he caused enough damage to
For it to be
my
considered an
windshield
actual-
for it to be considered a traffic accident.
Jesus.
Yeah,
So
I laughed.
I would too.
I was very pleased with that outcome. He wasn't, because he also had cocaine on him.
Oh. No wonder
he
he
was
was.
fucked.
No wonder he was in a hurry.
Yeah, he was so screwed.
Jesus Christ.
It's like karmic justice rarely happens for me. Right?
But when it
that
does,
was like all of the karmic justice of my entire life being spent at once.
for the next year.
For the next, yeah, maybe not my entire life, but definitely that previous couple of years.
Yeah. Ugh. And now it's like, oh, I got my windshield done, and then I've just been like doing financial shit. I got an extension filed on my taxes because I gotta go through all of my expenditures and figure out which ones are for the business and which ones aren't. And I gotta figure out my mileage for my car and everything. It's because I use it for the business, so I get to take a deduction on that. But I'm
Okay.
probably not gonna be getting a refund this year.
Yeah, freaking. I thought about itemizing all the tools that I purchased,
Mm-hmm.
but after talking to the accountant, the accountant basically said you don't spend enough on tools for this to be worth anything. It's like,
yeah,
fair enough.
yeah. I gotta figure out mileage. I gotta figure out fuel. I gotta figure out. Yeah, the fun part's gonna be figuring out what fuel charges on my debit card were for events and which ones weren't.
Oh, man, that's,
I gotta go back through all the jobs we did and look at the dates and be like, okay, if it's within like a day, I probably gassed up on my car, so I get to write that off as an expense. But I don't even know if that's gonna really counteract what I'm gonna. It's probably not gonna put much of a dent in what I owe.
No, probably not. My friend, that's the thing with this itemizing stuff. It's like it's only really worth itemizing if you're spending like half of like $1,000 a month on business expenses.
Yeah.
It's like that's the only time you're really gonna see money coming back to you. Like if you own and run a business and you're spending like $1,000 a month on materials or tools or whatever, and gas and getting to and from jobs and things like that,
Yeah.
it's not really worth the hassle, because you'll maybe get like a percent
Yeah,
of the total thing back. So that's like for $1,000 return, that's like $10.
yeah. So I think between fuel and mileage, I might be able to justify spending about $225 a month, which adds up. It's not going to be that much.
Yeah, I mean, I've spent in the last 3 months, I've probably spent about $700 on tools that I needed for my job,
Yeah.
and I'm not even done yet. It's like there's still plenty of tools that I need to get.
Well, you
soon.
might be able to itemize next year.
No, because once I've actually got the tools, it's not going to equate to $1,000. It's like it's only another $500 of tools that I probably need,
Okay.
and that's for a long time. Like those tools, as long as I'm taking care of them, as long as I'm not leaving them in attics and stuff like that, I should last me a good year or so.
Yeah.
So
I was thinking about how much gets taken out of my Amazon paychecks. I might get a return from Amazon, but definitely not from the family business. I might just be rolling that over into what I owe for the family business. We'll find out.
So what do you 1099 for the family business?
Yeah. As a self-employed.
Okay.
So, and I know there's a limit
Yeah,
on how much income is taxable for the year, but that it's still going to add. I think I'm going to be in like the 12% range or something like that, 12 or 14% for both jobs, not for one job.
So like together, what ballpark? What did you make?
Well, I haven't had the Amazon gig for that long because now we're into 2019, and I was only employed at Amazon for maybe
A week?
No, I started in September.
Oh,
So,
that's right. Yeah, you did, didn't you?
a couple of months. I don't think I made enough at Amazon for the last fiscal year for that to be taxed. I don't think.
You
Don't
did.
quote me on that.
You did.
I thought it
Um,
was. I thought 12,000.
federal.
The first 12,000 was not taxable, but maybe I'm wrong.
No. Your first total 12,000 isn't taxable.
Oh, okay. So,
So the first $12,000 you make, period, isn't
not
taxable.
Okay.
Anything after
Uh,
that, doesn't matter if it's a different job or not, it's taxable. Because if it's the first 12,000 at a job that's not taxable, you'd have people jumping jobs all the damn time.
Okay, so it's the first 12 grand as a whole. Okay.
Hmm.
For fiscal year 2018, I would ballpark it at about 19 to 21 grand, somewhere in there, give or take.
Okay, so you are actually in like the 12% range.
For this year, yeah. For next year, it's going to go
for
up.
2018. It's going to go up, yeah, but
Next year
you'll
it's
have
gonna
more
double.
money.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm probably going to owe maybe like a couple $100 this year. After, like, between when I get the taxes back from Amazon, whatever that comes out to be, and then what I
Yeah,
owe,
that's why
it'll
that's
kinda
why
cancel out.
that's why I refuse to 1099. If the job doesn't have a W-2, I'm not willing to take it because no, thank you.
Well,
I would rather just have my taxes taken out as I make the money and then possibly get a return
yeah.
on taxes than have no taxes taken out and have to use the money because I have it and then owe the IRS money. Because they're worse than loan sharks.
Yeah, oh fuck yeah, I know. Yes, that'll be fun getting to deal with that. Yeah, I found that I had a lot more money left from college than I thought, and I'm trying to figure out how best to use that.
Stick it in a interest building account.
Yeah, my our financial advisor was suggesting a Roth.
Yeah.
At least get some of that money in a Roth, and then the rest put toward my loans. Just knock those
Or
out.
or, CDs.
Eh, um,
They're
I'd have
short
to.
they're short term high interest loans to the bank. Like you put money into a CD account, you can't touch that money for like 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
but you make a good 30% interest, I think.
Okay, I'll have to see what my bank offers. So,
Yeah,
like,
I definitely look into that because that's what I was planning on doing.
okay,
It's like as soon as the as soon as my debts are all paid off, gonna start just plugging a lot of money into savings account,
yeah,
and then at the end of 6 months of plugging in money into a savings account, I was gonna take that entire savings account and plug it into a CD, and then that'll come back, and then I'll plug that into a CD, and then that'll come back, and then I'll plug that into a CD, and that'll come back, and so on and so forth.
and just you keep growing it and
You
growing it
keep
and
building.
growing it.
It's
Yeah.
not. It doesn't grow as fast as say, like investing into retirement and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like those money market accounts. But there's a lot less risk to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So instead of plugging a lot of money into a money market account and maybe making like double that in a year,
Yeah.
the risk of you losing all of that in that year is very high. But if you plug it into a CD, you are guaranteed to get interest back.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to talk to the advisor about that. I'm just curious what he thinks because he's very focused on long term. He's like, if you're setting up for a Roth now, most people don't do it until they're like 40.
Mm.
And here it's like, well, if we can get you to do it at 26, that's an extra 14 years of investment, and boy, that's going to pay off in the long run.
Oh yeah, no, I've already. That's what my 401k is. It's a Roth account.
Yeah.
So I pay taxes going into it,
Mm-hmm.
so that when it's time for that money to start coming out of it, when I hit 60, I won't have to pay taxes because I already paid into it. I already paid the taxes on it.
Yeah. It's where what Amazon offers is like you have the pre-tax deferral rate and then also a Roth deferral rate, and I'm like, okay, what's the difference between these here? I don't quite. What are we doing? So I got to set up another appointment and go back the fuck up to Mount Vernon and talk some more about this.
Yeah, it was definitely ask him about CDs because keep in mind my knowledge of CD accounts and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's from back in 2005
Mm-hmm.
when I took the class in high school. So I could be dead fucking wrong now.
Well, I mean, nothing ventured, nothing gained, so long as I am informed on my decisions.
Yeah, yeah.
But he
So
was saying today was perfectly viable for me to start making payments and a half on my loans, and still come out with enough to move out in July, if I wanted to. It's like,
yeah, well,
shit, okay.
listen to him.
Yeah, no, yeah. My parents trust him, and he's very knowledgeable about the world of the wonderful world of finance. So,
Yeah, yeah.
and at this point, I'm like, I'll take any lead. I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, the earlier you pay into those student loans, the less interest they earn
Yeah,
from you.
I think I'm on
Um,
the 10-year plan, but he said I could if I stick with 450 a month, and then keep a good chunk in my savings until about, like, from one job, save up until about 5 or 6 grand, and then from the other job, just dump all my income into the loans. I could have them paid off in 4 years.
Yeah, once the credit cards and the personal loans from my ex-wife are paid off, Panda and I are going to be aggressively attacking her student debt because I am really fucking tired of having any kind of debt attached to my name.
Yeah.
Tired of it.
Oh yeah.
It's like freaking car loan and a mortgage are one thing, but freaking $26,000 in consumer debt.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck that.
Yeah, I'm looking at 24 grand just for going to school.
See, that's not even counting Panda's student loans.
Oh shit.
That's just 24 grand caused by an ex-wife and the fallout from said ex-wife.
I see. And here Pav is like, when do I get to talk?
I don't know. I'm waiting for him to talk.
Don't.
I think he's ignoring us now. Anywho,
be smart,
how
kids. Be smart, kids. Don't do college. It's the worst
No,
drug.
You pay $450 a month towards
Well,
a debt.
the minimum payment is 300.
I am never taking out a student loan.
Don't.
Yeah, don't.
Don't.
That's why I didn't. It's like I said,
you
no,
can-
I'm not going to get a student loan because this is fucking bullshit.
If you can afford school and not see, I had to take out loans for living expenses because when I was at DigiPen, I didn't have time for even a part-time job because of how much they fucking work you there.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to take out loans just to pay for food and utilities. My folks handled the rent, but I had to pay utilities. I had to split on the cable bill. I had to pay for any repairs that came up or things like that. And that really hosed me. I mean, I guess it's not so bad now, but I don't know.
Yeah, it hasn't really done you a whole lot of good.
No. I wish I hadn't. I wish I hadn't gone to school.
Yeah, no. Panda's the same way. She's like, she really wishes that she had quit school when she wanted to instead of continuing on like her parents made her. Yeah, so we're like 24 G's in the hole right now because of my mistakes, and we're 50 G's in the hole or more for hers.
Yeesh.
Yeah. But we'll get out from
You'll
under it
manage.
somehow.
You'll manage.
It's just gonna take a little while.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I have the privilege and benefit of being able to fall back on VA loans for buying a house if it comes to it.
Yeah. You got a bit more windfall. I got to work everything off. Windfall's not the right term,
I mean,
but
I forget, you're not eligible for the military, are you?
me?
Yeah.
Not with my back, probably not. I mean, they might take me if they're desperate, but
They're not desperate anymore, buddy.
Well, I
Yeah.
think it's also not asthma, but what is it that you have?
me?
Yeah. You like
Um,
smoke and stuff. What's that?
well, that's just a side effect of being a 2-month preemie. Like well, the medical term is tracheoesophageal fistula. At least that's what the surgery was for. But
Yeah.
side effect
You're
is
not eligible.
Yeah, no. I've got this huge fucking scar on my chest. They'd probably be like, "Nope, he's defective. Get him out. Get him off the assembly line."
Yeah, I was almost ineligible because of a surgery I had when I was a kid. I was born with a hernia
Oh.
up. It was just under my belly button. I was
Okay.
like 11 pounds when I was born. So when my mom squeezed me out, certain things tore because
Ugh.
I was not designed to come out that big.
Yeah.
And when I was 7, my intestines decided to move out and expand into new territories that they were not
Shit.
supposed to be moving out and expanding into. So I'm very lucky that they caught it when they did because a couple more days.
Mm-hmm.
If I had gone a couple more days without that surgery, I would have died.
Yeah. I think the
So,
doctor said if I'd been born 5 years earlier, I would have been dead because they wouldn't know how to fix me.
mm-hmm.
But
Oh shit.
yeah, yeah, my parents picked a good time. But
So,
fucking
how about we move away from talking about us and our shitty lives and start talking about other people's shitty lives?
yeah.
No, I didn't even get to talk about my shitty life like at all.
Yeah, I know. Isn't it
We'll
grand?
we'll we'll give you 30 seconds.
All right, Pug,
Okay,
your
so
your
woke
time on the soapbox
journalism.
starts now.
A woke journalist saying owning dogs is
Oh,
racist.
he's moving on.
Oh.
He's moving
Yeah, he's
on.
like, no, I really
like,
don't
no,
want to talk about my
no.
shitty life, so we're just gonna move on.
Oh, where's let me pull this article up. Uh I'm
A
a
woke
I'm a
journalist says owning dogs is racist. They're a tool of white supremacy. Are you fucking serious, you fucking cat lady?
fucking okay, where the hell? Where's the link? Where's the link?
Bearded cat lady.
All right, we're gonna come over here. Oh no, pay no attention to that. You saw nothing. You didn't see Google just sitting there. Man, I love having a browser to interact with. This is so nice.
Isn't it? It's so nice, isn't it? Yeah.
Just have to wait for the damn thing to load.
While it's loading,
There
funny
we are.
story. On Friday, I accidentally spent $70 on a bottle of scotch.
How?
So normally when I buy alcohol, it's every 2 weeks. I buy 3 bottles. I buy a bottle of scotch, I buy a bottle of rum, and I buy a bottle of Irish whiskey. Normally, that comes to about $90.
Uh-huh.
Friday, I foregoed the Irish whiskey because I just didn't feel like buying it at the time.
You forewent
And just
it?
got and just got
Gotta put my degree to use somehow here.
somehow I just got the bottle of scotch and I got the bottle of rum. I was thinking it was going to be like $50 because I grabbed the bottle of scotch from their promotional display, which is usually a significant discount, and the most expensive it'll be is like $45.
Mm-hmm.
Well, little did I know that while it was a promotional discount, instead of it being a $120 bottle, it was a $70 bottle.
Score.
So, yeah, I mean, that's nice, but I still spent $70 on a bottle of scotch. It's really tasty scotch, but goddamn.
Well, then it sounds like it was worth it. Yeah.
It is. It's got a really neat bottle too, and it came with two
I
two glasses that are really nice.
sounds like a
So like
Crown Royal pack or something.
freaking I like my liquor glasses to be a bit pear shaped, simply because it focuses some of the flavors a little bit.
You like the tulip glasses?
Yeah,
Okay, that's fine.
and they had them, and I was like, you know what? That's scotch. I want to try more scotches
Mhm.
because while I really like Glenlivet, I am interested in expanding my horizons to see if I find something that I like more. I haven't found something I like more, but I've found some pretty shitty scotches and some
Uh-huh.
pretty tasty ones.
Sweet.
It's like the tasty ones is Glenlivet 12 year, um, Glenlivet Founders Mark or Founders Reserve. I'm not sure. I think it's Reserve, and Glenfiddich 12 year. I don't like the Glenfiddich as much because it's a little bit more peaty,
Uh-huh.
and I like the smoky. And Glenlivet has sweetness to it that the Glenfiddich does not have.
Okay.
And then I found a scotch that just tastes like grass.
Must
I'm
be
like,
Irish.
no, I'm good. I didn't even finish that bottle. I poured it out. Like,
yeah, I
nope.
wouldn't either. Yeah, I think I.
So,
Yeah. Back to the
article,
news.
Colonizers insist on colonizing. Interesting. A New York-based journalist and activist on Friday declared dogs are a tool of white supremacy and gentrification. Ben Falding was responding to a local TV report last week about students at Howard University in Washington, D.C., who are annoyed about neighbors walking dogs on the campus. Nobody interviewed in the Fox 5 broadcast mentioned race. But according to Falding, whose left-wing commentary has been published in the Washington Post and elsewhere, white people are clearly weaponizing their dogs in a colonialist attempt to seize control of the historically black college. Although he did not seem to have any special knowledge about the situation, he claimed to have science on his side.
Citation fucking needed.
He doesn't get
that-
one.
Oh
That's
my
more of a
God.
swing and a miss there, buddy.
No, he posts a snippet from what looks like an article, and then gives nothing else to it, and then just starts lambasting people who want to him.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, instead of actually, did you guys start doing this last week?
Doing what?
Like, instead of reading the entire article, just reading snippets from it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're planning on changing things up a little bit so that we're not getting bogged down in the meaningless details where we're just reading the interesting snippets that we find.
Well, I'm not entirely doing that right now. I'm just I'm spending a little bit more time like jumping around and finding extra little bits.
Yeah.
Fucking-
So the tweet that he has brought up, it reads, "Dogs are a tool of white supremacy." Blah blah blah. That's just not my opinion. That's not just my opinion. There is research that shows how white newcomers walk dog walking routes stake out territory, and white owners use their pets to socialize with other white owners, excluding minorities. Meanwhile, if a follow-up tweet is if black dog owners would show up in white neighborhoods, they'd be surveilled and harassed. And like the snippet that he posts is highlighted as black and Latinx dog owners were classified as deficient and subsequently surveilled and disciplined. The power of the classification and logic of this white urban middle class habitus comes in its reinforcement of pre-existing structural arrangements along race and class lines. In this space, dogs helped reinforce an inequitable system of whiteness. Where the fuck did he pull this from?
Okay, so it's an
The
article.
shit.
It's an article from Wiley Online Library, and
As in Wile E. Coyote? 'Cause,
the only
fuck.
the only way to read this entire thing is to spend either $7 to have access to it for 48 hours, or $42 to be able to see the full text.
What?
And it's only been cited once by an actual
By this guy.
basically.
By this motherfucker. I don't know if that's him with the cat, but
Man,
So this is a farce.
it better
yeah. Freaking. This is another clip. This is an ongoing trend in the DC area. The writer continued. Places that were once rich with black culture have now been whitewashed, and the city has become unrecognizable to those who've called it home for many years.
be. What?
Right?
I'm sorry, what? No.
And then they've got another couple of tweets in here.
I'm gonna need another
Like-
beer at this rate, for Christ's sake.
This guy has there's one tweet that's quoting his tweet that says, "This is probably the dumbest thing I've seen all day." Praise the Lord. Someone gets it.
He's
Jesus Christ.
I love it how one of the responses he has, because he's lambasting a few of his responders, is him just saying Lamau to someone on Twitter who just posted "you suck," and then the guy then next to it posts the picture of his profile picture, which is just a dude with, I don't know, that looks like a Shih Tzu or something, that says, the shirt says "Dog Dad," and this.
Get ready for a second Trump. I'm just scrolling through these tweets here. Holy shit, these are great. These are some great takes. Oh no, I'm at the end of the fucking article. Let's see, where are we here?
But yeah, so here, most
Oh,
of the
this is funny.
most of the tweets that are popping up, are basically just people saying, just blindly agreeing with this.
Yes, finally science confirms it. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I just read that. Freaking Jesse Singal posts a picture, a screenshot of the first tweet saying,
Right.
"Get ready for a second Trump term," and then follows it up with, "This does nicely sum up a certain uber woke approach to science. Research suggests men are, on average, more into things and women more into people. Unbelievably misogynistic hogwash." And then, "Research suggests dogs are tools of white supremacy. Yes, finally, science confirms it."
The
I think
evidence is there,
that
and
sums
we'll
this
see it
up.
soon enough. Jesus Christ.
It pretty much does.
Oh, man. Oh, hey, they got fucking Helen Pluckrose chiming in on this shit. She was one of the professors that did those fake woke articles where one of them, they had a bunch of them submitted to different academic journals, and one of them was a feminist rewrite of Mein Kampf. And
Hey,
And-
I have an off-topic question, really quick. Pav,
What's up?
why don't you have a face?
Because I have to differentiate myself somehow.
But
I'm a talking hat. Deal with it.
he's a talking
you're a
hat
talking
with
cat.
Hats.
he's a talking hat with a gun.
There's a.
We're gonna have to talk about the inclusion.
So you
of the gun,
ever
but-
see that movie? Have you ever seen that movie, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen?
Yes.
Of course.
Freaking Invisible Man
Yeah.
Yeah.
wore a fedora-style hat and a pea coat, a 6-button pea coat, just like that.
Yeah. He also had bandages over his face, though.
Or used makeup, but still, when he removed the bandages or the makeup, that's
He's
what he
invisible.
looks like. That's what he looks like.
I was
I
not
wonder if-
referencing it in any way, shape, or form.
What if the Invisible Man ever got hit by a car?
So
Well, then there'd be invisible blood and guts all over that car. Or would there?
yeah, that's the. Is it just the outside of his body that's invisible?
You guys ever watch that movie Hollow Man?
Yes.
No, I
The
haven't
end of
seen
that movie. The end of that movie where he starts getting electrocuted and his viscera just starts becoming visible again.
Oh, jeez.
That's what I just pictured with that whole Invisible Man getting hit by the car. Suddenly, he's not invisible anymore, and it's gross.
Oh man.
Sorry.
So,
So asked to cite his sources, I don't
Yeah.
want to say fondling. Fondling, who is a black Jewish psychology student at the University of New York, linked a study published last year in a journal of psychology form.
Sociological forum.
Thank you.
Fucking-
I'm still stuck on the fondling.
That's his name
Other
now.
progressives backed up Fondling's take too. The Root, a black progressive news site, on Friday ran its own version of the Fox 5 report about Howard. At one point, why can't I say that word? I know what it is. Opinioning. Why am I saying it like that? Alright, whatever. Of the local dog walkers that colonizers insist on colonizing. This is an ongoing trend in the DC area. Alright, I think I've gotten to the point where you were reading there, Pig. Whitewash for many years. I think Pig just bailed out. Directly addressing white folks, Gill said, I don't care.
I just
how
realized
nice
I
your
was
dog is."
muted.
Yeah, you've been muted. Dogs have been used as a tool of white control, dominance, violence, from slavery through the civil rights to police dogs today. When you let your dogs take up more space than us, you're perpetrating. Oh my god. Okay, so the citing for that is basically a picture from what looks like a civil rights protest where canine units are attacking a African American man.
Oh yeah,
Um,
that shot, because my corgis have the same bite
Yeah.
strength as a German Shepherd.
Have you seen white people dogs these days? They're all freaking tiny ass little terrier things that'll give your ankle a run for your money, but not much more than that.
Exhibit A, Count Dankula's pugs.
Pugs.
Mm-hmm.
It's plural now.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
got two.
He's got two.
Yep.
Buddha is old as balls, and then the little
And-
black one.
Yeah.
I can't remember its
He
name.
got Bronson.
Bronson.
he
He
got-
got Bronson freaking reacting to Black Power.
So let me get this straight. If Dankula's a white supremacist, according to the media, and he's getting his black dog to raise his paw for black power, does that mean the supremacy just cancels out? Because then he's a white supremacist and a black supremacist, so
No, it's
either
like-
they
it's
cancel out or
funny
he likes
'cause
gray people only. I don't know.
What's funny is he put the clip of it on his second channel. That he's cracking up while he's doing this. He's saying Black Power, and the dog, I think, woofs a little bit and then
Kinda
raises its right
growls,
paw.
Yeah.
And then he says, "Around 2, Electric Boogaloo."
Yeah, no, that fucking Twitter video. Oh my god, that
Round
was-
two,
that was
electric boogaloo.
Right. So, I think to sum up this article, he says, there is no behavior or interaction too insidious enough,
Innocuous.
innocuous enough, it can't be a microaggression or serve to reinforce the system's of equality. I think that sums up who
That
this
that
is we're
sums
dealing
up
with.
woke politics in general.
Yeah, that seems pretty
Yeah.
safe.
So-
That's interesting.
So, everybody, stop owning dogs. You're perpetrating white supremacy.
Cats
Fuck you all.
cats aren't racist
Fire-
because the
firemen
Egyptians
say
liked them.
I found a headline that's just kind of interesting. Firemen save puppies but realize they aren't actually dogs.
Huh?
I'm almost tempted to click the link, but we know what kind of freaking rabbit hole that is.
We've done this before.
Yeah, three links from here will end up at Hitler. That's how the link
That's-
game is played.
Three, okay.
How many Wikipedia articles can we get through before we're reading about Hitler?
I don't want to try that on this particular jaunt down the rabbit hole. I'm gonna close
Yeah.
this article before I actually. What the hell is that noise?
What noise?
There's a-
Rhode
there's a-
Island.
Rhode Island? That noise is Rhode Island.
It's Rhode Island.
That was an ad in another freaking pluralist article that I
Oh,
could not get
Jesus.
to shut up because I couldn't find it.
That's beyond awful.
So Rhode Island teachers really don't like the idea of criminalizing sex between teachers and students. Apparently.
Thought that should only
Well,
happened
it must
in,
be
I thought that only
must
happened
be,
in like the
must
Midwest.
must be a favorite pastime of teachers over there is just having sex with their students. What am I saying over there? Rhode Island is only like 2 hours drive from here.
Not from us though. You're vicariously living on the West Coast.
Yeah, I'm not sure I want to live vicariously on the West Coast.
Oh, okay.
What?
Hey,
Buck, why are you censoring Topaz?
What? No, I didn't.
who's censoring what?
Who's what?
Buck is censoring Topaz.
How'd I do that?
You tell me. I'm seeing a comment that she has left on the chat that is just not on the chat for me, but it is for her. It says cats aren't racist because they're pussies.
Wait a second. I'm not seeing that either.
I don't see that in chat at all. Either on the main page or in the control panel. I don't see that at all. And Topaz has full permissions. I don't know.
That would definitely be YouTube.
I know I was making a joke and kind of segueing into bringing it up.
Susan,
Susan, what have
why
you
do
done?
Why
Fix
do you have
this
a problem
shit.
with puppet? Why does Susan
do you have a problem with
puppies?
cats? Huh? You fucking racist?
Maybe she just has a problem with vaginas.
Or both. No,
Like-
she's racist
like
against
hers-
cats and
hers-
sexist.
Hers don't work anymore.
We
All of them.
all three of
All
them.
of her vaginas.
Okay. Oh.
It's why it's why she has to keep getting a new one installed. She's like Zuckerberg, except the female. Wait,
Oh,
is
gosh.
Zuckerberg an alien or a robot?
He's a
He's a robot.
lizard robot.
Then I was
No,
right.
he's-
All
no,
right,
is he a-
I was right. She's a robot
Ooh.
too, and she has to keep getting her new genitalia installed because it keeps breaking down without even being able to be used.
I don't even want to address that. So Rhode
All
Island.
right, all right, Miss Fasicki, it's time to upgrade. The new
So,
software
Drew-
update
It's
is
like
here.
it's like the iPhone. It's gotta get upgraded every single year, or else it
Yeah.
stops working.
Just got to take Susan back down to the Apple store for an upgrade.
No. The reason why that happens is because they start draining the battery. So, I mean, there's some kind of joke that can be mixed in with that somewhere. I don't know.
Well, she is probably constantly draining batteries, but they're already drained by the time they get to the orifice.
I was eating something and
And now you're not.
now I feel sick.
You're welcome.
Oh,
Did you guys miss me last week?
no.
Yes. Oh.
To be honest, what I'm eating is a little,
Bland.
no, it's just
Tuna.
who makes
I thought
Alright,
something
okay.
fishy was going on here.
it's a lemon blueberry.
Yeah.
It's a lemon blueberry cheesecake. And
Interesting.
It just, you don't expect the flavor. I don't know why you would add lemon to cheesecake. That seems too.
I have to
lemon
ask you a
cheesecake.
question. Are you sure? Are you sure the flavor is coming from the lemon and the blueberry, and not maybe the what's the word for it? Love juice that was poured into it.
Considering it was my sister that made it, I don't.
I'm not wrong. She poured her love into it for you. How dare you say it's gross?
Well,
because
it wasn't
of-
just me that ate it. The entire family did. But
That
So
just
two
makes
Rhode
it
Island-
worse.
I mean, I've seen 4chan threads that end that way.
What's the
Rhode
name of
Island-
that anime? Love Nectar?
I think
Okay,
so.
I'm moving on.
It's
I will fucking
And-
the both of you.
and it's still relevant to the article.
So, two Rhode Island teachers' unions and the American Civil Liberties Union are opposing a bill that would criminalize sex between students, between school employees and students younger than 18.
Wait, isn't having sex with people under the age of 18 already a crime?
Unless you're a female teacher, then it's just probation.
The pro is
That's a good point.
It's not my fault, Your Honor. The 13-year-old forced himself upon me.
It's
Jam
not my
and
fault,
all.
Your Honor. He volunteered to be my pointer. He was already standing at attention.
This,
Okay, so
this is why I don't trust sex ed teachers who ask for volunteers.
so the bill, sponsored by the state representative,
Man, what kind of freaking
Mazowski.
volunteer were you?
would make any school employee that had sex with a student between the ages of 14 and 18, what about lower than that? Guilty of third-degree sexual assault. But
That was my
is that
thought. It's
already-
like, what about the ones lower than they're the age?
Isn't that already not the
Come on.
case, though? School employees covered by this bill include bus drivers, vendors, school volunteers with supervisory authority. But James Parashi, a lobbyist for the Rhode Island Federation of Teachers, said his union opposes the legislation because it singles out teachers while ignoring the profession where adults also supervise teenagers.
Oh my god.
That seems like a really stupid.
That's a very specific complaint.
Yeah.
Sounds like this guy's had a little bit of what's the word for it? Seriously, what's the fucking word for it? I can't even think of it.
Relate? Oh fuck. Relate? No.
Like taken advantage of.
Put it that way.
There's another word for it that's a little bit more appropriate because it's a little bit more accurate.
I think I know what word you're thinking of, but I can't think of it. God damn it. It's
What
just like,
fucking good is your goddamn freaking degree if you can't even
Figure out
freaking
that word
remember a
quick.
word for a specific concept?
it's sporadic
Supposed
at
to be a
best.
walking- You're supposed to be a freaking walking thesaurus at this point, Mr. English major.
Listen, I didn't study archaeology. Just
Womp womp.
yeah. That,
Back to
that
the
didn't
article.
work. Oh man.
But here's my problem, right? Is this not already a crime?
It's already a crime for teachers, specifically the role of teachers, to be sleeping with their students. But it's not the act of statutory rape is a crime. However, there's not added legal criminalization due to the position of the statutory rapist, unless they're a teacher, like an actual teacher. With it being the vendors and the volunteers and so on and so forth, as mentioned in this article,
Yeah,
they just go down for this whole statutory rape thing. But
Okay,
if this
Alright.
were to, if this article or this bill were to pass into law, the same weight of the same weight that would hit a teacher is going to hit them too now. It's something about abusing the position of authority to.
yeah, but isn't that typically the take of like feminists and the ACLU and all that is like the abuse of authority, and that's the reason why it doesn't matter if she agreed to it. You raped her because you had authority over her.
Yeah,
isn't
but
that
the whole thing is this is going to disproportionately affect them. So of
The
course it's going to be bad.
So,
Yeah.
I love the ACLU's response to this. Is while one may disagree whether this type of Romeo and Juliet conduct is inappropriate, it should not be a felony.
Whoa.
Um,
Hold up.
no, it should absolutely be a felony. This is
yeah.
someone.
Is this the ACLU or fucking NAMBLA?
It's ACLU.
I know. What?
No,
Wow.
it should absolutely. I think having sex with an underage individual, it should absolutely be a felony. It doesn't matter what position you find yourself in. It's unless it just shouldn't happen.
Yeah, this bit from the NEA Rhode Island. It is patently ridiculous for anyone to imply that our organization or any individual teacher would condone any inappropriate relationship between a teacher and his or her students.
So then
It's
you
not
should
a-
have no problem with it being made a law.
Why do you have a problem? Like, I'm not seeing an
It's not
issue
a-
with this.
It's
bill.
not a matter of condoning it. It's a matter of, is it a problem? The answer is yes, it is a problem because it keeps happening.
Yeah.
Not just in
it
Rhode
sure
Island,
does.
but
Apparently, a lot more often in Rhode Island than people realize, considering that they're the ones who are having issues with it.
yeah.
It's like you have a huge problem with this bill becoming a law,
So,
yet you say that whatever this is a law against is not condoned by your organization. Why do I get the feeling that something's going on that we don't know about yet, and we should start looking into you?
so the bill's writer has defended the reason for his bill by saying the deterrent is yes, they can be fired, but that means that they can just jump anywhere else in the country and get another job preying on kids.
Ah. I
So,
understand the reasoning behind making this a law now. It puts
Yes.
them on the sex offender registry,
Yes.
Yeah.
and that is a federal thing, and they are federally barred from working in.
With
Any
kids in any
position.
capacity, yeah.
Yes,
Unless they get a job as a Magic the Gathering judge.
apparently.
Then somehow it's fine.
No, it's like it's with a Magic the Gathering judge. It's almost like it's a qualification.
Requirements must be on the sex offender list and have a fedora.
No. It's not just being on the sex offender list. It is being on the sex offender list with the added tag of with children.
So the debate over Rhode Island's legislation comes amid an alarming number of cases in which teachers engaged in inappropriate sexual relationships with students. Last month, the estate of a Nevada student who killed himself after being sexually abused by a female teacher filed a lawsuit against the school district. In another case, a former, I'm guessing they're referring to the school district in Rhode Island.
Yeah.
In another case, a former new middle school teacher left one student so traumatized by the sexual abuse that he was scared to receive tutoring services. So it
I
sounds
don't
like
blame him.
Sounds like this is a common problem.
She must have
to
been very
where-
liberal with that ruler.
Oh god. Oh no.
I heard she had 9 of them on a string.
My mind went
Are you
somewhere
are you
else
sure you're
with
not
that
talking
one.
about the lives of the cat that she stole?
Well, it's also true.
I'm sorry, that was supposed to be a vagina joke, but it didn't quite work out the way I was hoping it was.
Not at all. It didn't work at all. Like,
Yeah,
to be
'cause,
completely
you know,
frank.
That just implies
Pussy.
that she just fucked a cat.
Pussy, cat, you know, she's got 9 lives in her pants, that sort of thing. That's how it's supposed to come out.
Yeah,
But it didn't come
that's
out
not
that
how
way.
it came out at all.
Kind of like, I got nothing. Moving on.
Oh man, this why fucking just the whole thing
This
of
is
we're
just
gonna
stupid.
make sex with a student illegal. Why? Why are you
Why are you asking why? this
what?
this seems pretty
Don't you think sex with a student is wrong? Well, yeah, but what's the but? It's like
Is
Gi-
there? Where's
give
the
me an
rest
argument.
of the fucking article?
that's it. That's the end of the article.
That's it. Yeah, that's where it ends. Is
That's
the
not. That's
not a good
not an
spot to
end
end
an
the
article.
article.
That's like half of an article.
This,
Yeah.
this is like the Halo 4 of articles. It's like we
Oh,
were just
God.
it was just getting good,
Oh god.
and now you've stopped. At least there's
I
no
would
shaky cam scene with a really shitty flying section.
Indeed.
Hmm.
Damn.
What else we got
Sure.
for articles?
So we have a few that are just like I just happened to grab while I was at work. One of them is actually something that I kind of want to just bring up because I think it's cool. We're not really a
Alright.
tech channel, but hey, why not? So there's a company called Mind VR. Scroll up and grab that article.
Yep, I'm working
Where's
on
it
that
at?
right now.
This is actually a neat one.
Yeah. So, Mind VR creates a basically a elderly friendly mobile phone VR experience. So it's a VR headset that uses a mobile phone as its driver, basically.
Mhm.
So it was about 2 years ago that they released it, and they've been putting it out to old folks' homes and all that kind of stuff. Basically, what it like, it's kind of the pinnacle of what VR can be. Just for someone who has no mobility or stuff like that, they can exist within a world such as like stand in a 3D representation of a forest, or because there's a ton of software out there that takes a 3D camera and drives through like the Great Wall of China, and so you can just kind of walk through the Great Wall of China in this 3D space, and it's actually pretty cool. So nearly 2 years ago to this day, oh no, let's skip that part. But This week, through MindVR, is expanding its mission with the help of HTC. HTC is the
Phone
maker of
maker.
the well, they were, and now their focus is the Vive.
VR kits, huh?
hmm The company is now rolling out MindVR 2 in partnership with HTC's Vive X accelerator. So it's basically using tech within the Vive to power their version of the headset. The company joined the initiative back in January, whereabouts previous versions of the MindVR were used on a mobile-based headset. The latest edition runs on HTC's standalone VR kit, Vive Focus. The device is a Mind branded that comes with a tablet to control the VR experiences for users.
For the user by
carriers.
cares.
Mm-hmm.
See, I read that sentence and I'm thinking, man, you gotta have a lot of trust in your caretaker, otherwise they're gonna give you some fucked up shit.
So
This is why I'm not a caretaker.
the main
Me neither.
I
the
would,
main
I would be
thing,
too tempted to do some evil ass
All right,
shit.
Mr. Robinson, you want to play Doom? Well, you're playing Doom now.
No. Pornhub 3D.
oh god.
Oh.
So
Hi,
Just-
Mrs. Smith.
just
I
leave
know
it
you
on.
were really, really looking forward to seeing the little baby kitty cats, but I got some adult kitty cats for you to look at.
another thing that what this can do is it can add in yeah, I'm completely ignoring you guys' jokes. What this can do is it can add in say as VR video cameras get less and less expensive, is you can set up one and like I don't
Actually,
know,
be
at a
there
party,
with family.
basically.
Yeah.
Like, be there with family and everything when you're just in an actual living room and not this stupid fucking old folks home that you absolutely hate, but your children have sent you to die.
Yeah, like one of those, like...
Why
really
would
no-
anyone want to spend time with their family after that? That's what I'm trying to figure out. It's like, you sent me to this old folks home. Why would I want to spend any fucking time with you? You've betrayed me.
I told you I didn't want to come here.
All right, so the main thing that that MindVR is kind of it was what its shtick was that it consists of a bunch of 360 content. So it's not like where the Vive, you buy the Vive and then you have to go out and find your own 360 content, which work with the Vive. This comes with it. So it'll take advantage of the Vive Focus personal tracker. Tracking using its standalone device rather than the headset that requires a smartphone is, however, much more convenient. So I just thought it was really cool that
No, it is really cool. It's
Yeah.
it's really, really cool, especially for people who
are mobile.
I think it would be probably most useful for those who find themselves as quadriplegics, who literally
Okay.
can't move.
Well, still, yeah. I mean,
So
I can see
they'd be able to explore places that they'd never have been able to go to before.
I think that's my main thing. Is just it doesn't. I don't even think it matters whether or not you're quadriplegic. If you're just a basic living off of retirement old person in a wheelchair, right? It's not conceivable that you're going to be able to go travel the world, right?
Yeah, you'd have to
But-
have one hell of a retirement plan.
Right. But-
Yeah.
If you get a Vive, I mean, it's a simulated version of it, and you can't really compare the two, but it's something. And like, I've actually been editing 360 videos with a 360 camera recently, and I kind of
Okay.
almost want to buy a Vive. I would not buy Oculus, but I'll buy a Vive.
Why wouldn't you buy an Oculus?
It's a closed platform rather than Vive, which is more open, like Android.
Okay.
It's an open software, so anybody can code into it. You don't
Oh, so
have to go through
it's open
Oculus.
source.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's more content out there for it. More are supported by the Vive, and also
Thank you for giving me a legitimate answer rather than something that's brand worship.
I feel like you don't know me very well if that's your response.
Oh no! That's not what it is. That is at all. It's like I've heard so many people like say that they are never going to buy certain things, and it all just comes down to brand worship. It's like I don't like Apple. I don't like the way Apple does business. I don't like the way they have their everything is proprietary. You can't fix
so
your own
closed
computers or
platform.
anything like that. I don't like it.
And they
like
they oversell stuff.
Mm-hmm. It's overpriced and it's garbage.
I just hate their interface.
It's the exact same equipment that you'd get on a PC for double the price.
And I tried to
Right?
make a
not all the time, but yes, typically.
Typically.
I tried to make a phone
the
call on an
Mac-
iPhone once, and I couldn't figure out how to go back.
The
And
Mac
I'm being forced to use Apple products right now for my job because they gave me an iPad for all of my service work.
Uh-huh.
So all the paperwork that we used to do on actual paper, it's done on the iPad now.
Okay,
Yeah.
forgive me, but I actually do kind of like the iPad. And the reason why is because Android tablets are garbage. So if we're talking about tablets, the iPad is as long as you're not going out and buying a brand new one, you can get one used at a pawn shop.
I mean,
that's a
this
much more
this
reasonable price.
this
There's
Galaxy.
also there's a big difference between Apple iPads and
and the phone.
Samsung tablets and things like that. The Samsung stuff is arguably more resilient from an anecdotal standpoint for me.
Ah, okay.
It's like I have this iPad in an OtterBox.
Mhm.
I have never dropped the damn thing. I've never dropped anything on it. It hasn't suffered any shocks whatsoever to it. And it's fucking shattered.
Oh shit! See,
Jesus.
I've had the exact opposite experience, but again, it's both anecdotal.
So I'm pretty sure that the reason that it happened is because the OtterBox was too tight on it and was putting a little bit too much stress on the iPad. So all it took was enough pressure in one little spot just from putting the cover onto it to cause it to shatter.
Jesus.
But that still speaks volumes about the toughness of them. I've had five Samsung tablets. Not one of them broke. They all were replaced through obsolescence.
Yeah, I mean, I've got this was it a Galaxy Tab E, and I could kill someone with this, and it'd be fine. It's got the nice.
Yeah,
It's got weight.
It's like
got a
I've
good
never
case.
had any. I've never had any of my Samsung tablets even in a case, and I have not so much as scratched the screen. I have this freaking iPad for a week in a fucking case, and the screen spider webs.
Damn,
Not even dropping the damn thing. Not
Yeah.
even not hitting it, not dropping anything on it, keeping the freaking cover on it whenever I'm not using it.
Oh
not
man, do you remember Bengate?
What?
No? Oh, okay. All right. So, 3 or 4 years ago, I think it came out with it was the iPhone 6. And it turned out that those things are so cheaply made that if you applied a little bit of force of bending the phone,
Oh
would
yeah, I
straight
remember
up
now.
bend in half.
I
Oh,
remember now. Yeah, I remember that. People were having the phone in their back pocket and just
Yeah.
sitting on it
Yeah.
and taking it out of their pocket, and it's in the shape of their butt. It was that fragile.
Yeah, no, Bengate was god awful. But no, for me, like, my argument is I prefer Android phones because of their openness, but I
Mhm.
like a Apple tablet because there is a lot of software that games things like that doesn't end up on the Android but is on the uh, iPad.
I've only used tablets for gaming when it came to simple old style puzzle games like Bejeweled and all of its freaking
See,
clones.
I play Ocean Horn.
Ocean porn?
Ocean Horn.
I don't even know what
It's
that is.
everybody can look it up. It's called Ocean Horn. It's if you like Legend of Zelda, you might be interested in it.
Which Legend of Zelda? Any of them?
Yeah, any of them. It's not a game based like
Okay. 'Cause
uh
only one I
yeah.
played was Wind Waker. Other than that, I'm
I
just
like
been
Wind
like,
Waker. Wind Waker and Twilight Princess were my favorites.
Ocarina of Time.
It's a good one, but not one of my favorites.
I haven't played enough
But
Zelda games to really give a rating. So,
you you should play more Zelda games.
Yeah, you
but
should.
then I'd have
Zelda's
to
great.
buy a Nintendo
Switch.
console.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
That's not in my
Alright.
budget.
Yeah, it's not on mine either.
And just go down to the corner and suck a few dicks. You'll be able to afford it.
As long as I don't
I
suck
hear
the
you
dick of an
have
IRS agent.
I hear you. Well, no, like that's. Listen, you're going to be giving an IRS agent a freaking tonsil massage. Trust me.
No matter what I do.
Uh-huh.
That's like the fucking what's it called? That is how you become an American. It's not an immigration test. It's can you blow an IRS agent or not? That if you can, you're a citizen. Congratulations. If not, well, have I got bad news for you?
You know that dirt hole country you just came from? Well, you're going to you're not allowed to go back to that country. You have to go to a different one now.
Doesn't matter where you're from, you're being deported to Russia. Hillary Clinton said so.
Because no matter what country you were born in, you were a Russian spy.
Oh man, fucking hell.
Freaking stupid Hillary
Again.
Clinton bullshit.
Fucking goddamn conspiracy theories.
Yeah, why are you spreading them, man? Come on now.
It's like an STD. I don't mean to. They just happen.
Better be careful with that.
You know, go out for a couple of drinks with the girl. Next thing you know, I'm talking to her
that
about
was
how
a
jet
sign.
fuel melts steel beams.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
That was a sign not to finish that
My basic mission camp.
mission camp.
Yeah, I'm responding to Mark.
Oh,
Mission camp.
what are we, Mormons?
Yeah, mission camp.
But then you'd have to buy a free Visual Boy Advance emulator.
The hell's a Visual Boy Advance emulator?
It's an emulator for Game Boy Advance. It's free. The joke is never mind.
My God. Moving
the
on.
joke is buying it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
No,
All right,
Buck. The joke is
so-
you.
Yeah, that's also that. Yeah,
Sadly accurate.
this is getting a little too personal.
Speaking
man.
of gaming, there's another article that I posted.
Oh. The Daily
Where is
Lobo
it?
one? Oh, there we are.
Ah, this freaking chuckle fuck of a
What the hell is
console service.
All right. So
Google Stadia.
Google has released. Well, okay. So Google has announced. That's a better way to put it. Google has announced a new way to game, as they put it. But it's really an
this? Odd.
old idea that's kind of works and kind of doesn't.
It's like computing is going back to the way it was back in the early 90s, late 80s, where it's mainframe based.
Uh,
Google, like what they do for Netflix, Google wants to do for gaming.
right.
That's
Something
basically
like
what they
that.
want to do.
So Google Stadia. So basically, you connect to a giant data server, that's at a location that's closest to you because there's going to be multiple, and it streams the game from there to whatever you're playing, what you're using to play, a tablet or a computer, and allows you to play the newer games. High
Yeah, it
detail
basically
without
basically
having a high
does
computer.
it basically does all of the things
Processing.
the computer does, except remotely, so you don't have to buy a computer. The problem is you need fiber speeds in
Not
order to.
entirely. Not entirely. Previous versions, Nvidia has their own service, and actually, PlayStation has their own service, and these two they're niches. They're real niche. Nobody really picks up on them because hardware is still king, and people still want to have their own hardware, so they don't actually play.
Yeah, I want my
using
own
these.
hardware.
But they are still not terrible if you have an okay internet. Like my internet is not fiber, but I'd still be able to do it pretty easily.
Like, the way I liken this to is freaking playing games remotely, having all of the game processing being done and not having the hardware to do it. It's like having sex with someone else's dick instead of yours. It's like watching porn. It might be entertaining, but you're not getting anything out of it, really. Like, what's
Okay.
Pav? We know you watch a lot of porn, which is why we know you're okay with this.
Just. No. I'm trying to find your logic here, but I'm not seeing it. Because the game,
Why?
like, you get the same
You're-
experience. So it's that you would if you just had a normal computer.
I'm
on
just
how
saying, not having your own hardware is like not having like. It's just like having sex through someone else. You know, sure, you might be able to watch it from their point of view. Sure, you might be able to feel what they're feeling by using your hand and all that, but are you really having sex?
Why does this page not
Wait,
let me scroll
no,
down?
you're
You're
not
absolutely
watching
not
some-
having
Are
sex.
you talking about Twitch gaming?
No. No.
That would make more sense as an analogy.
No. I'm talking about like that's just how it feels. It's just what it seems like to me. It's like not having your own hardware just seems like
You're relying on someone else.
they make these devices called
Computers?
no. Like it's for people with very small penises.
Okay,
They
now
put
that
they
analogy
put this
makes
they
more
put
sense.
this penis
That analogy makes
on
more
top of their penis and have sex with their significant other.
Okay.
But they don't actually feel anything while doing it.
Okay, you lost me again. You lost me again. 'Cause like the first like part of that makes sense. The add-on at the end.
Imagine how a woman who likes to have sex with other women or peg her boyfriend or husband or whatever feels when they put on the strap on. Sure, they're going through the motions, they're performing the act, and they might be getting some enjoyment out of it. But they're not getting the kind of enjoyment they would get out of it if they had their own penis. This is actually getting kind of fun.
I get exactly what you're saying.
Let me think of another sexual example.
Well, like, sexual examples make sense. It's just like you keep adding on the end, which throws the analogy out the window.
What do you mean?
Okay,
It's like she's still doing the things that she would do if she had her own penis. She's just not getting the same level of enjoyment she would have if she had her own penis.
yeah, but it's not comparable. It's not
is absolutely comparable.
How so?
How the fuck do you say that word?
Comparable.
Comparable. Thank you.
Okay. But
I'm
this
just
is
gonna
just
sit back and let
Like,
you two make your
how
cases here.
How is it not comparable though? It's like you're playing games with hardware that's not your hardware.
It doesn't feel any different.
It totally feels different.
How?
Well, for one, you can't push the power button.
Yeah, you can.
How?
By shouting Xbox off.
How are you going to push the power button when the power button is like 200 miles away in a data center?
Well, you're still having to interact with a device that has a power button. So it's the same thing.
But you're not pushing the power button on the device that's actually doing the processing. Processing.
Well, it's
That's the
ending. It's ending that part of the. I don't see how that makes any sense because you're still pressing a power button. You get the same. What?
Okay. Well, let's try this a different way then.
Okay.
Say you're driving a car that has the soul of a race car. You're not actually driving a race car. It's just some power fantasy that you've built for yourself by saying your car has the soul of a sports car.
Yeah, but
It's like it's what some middle-aged man gets in the middle of a freaking midlife crisis.
this car that you're actually doing is
Doing? Who does? You have
I'm
some
sorry.
weird fetish there, buddy.
I'm sorry. I just got the notification from fucking Mark. It threw me off.
It's like taking a Ford. Okay, it's like taking a Ford engine, putting it in a Honda Civic, and claiming you have a Chevrolet.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's a good one. That's a good one, Mark.
Yeah.
Even better. It's like borrowing a vibrating strap-on, and the person you borrowed it from left it on and just finished using it.
Yeah, that's probably the best way of thinking about it.
It's still coated in their juices.
Yeah. I think we've just confused Pav to the point of no return.
Like
Pav is
parts
desperately.
of your analogy works. Parts of your analogy.
Pav is desperately trying to think up of a way to put holes in my argument when my argument is bulletproof. He can't argue against what I'm saying because he knows in his hearts of hearts that what I'm saying makes total perfect sense.
No, it doesn't. In 3
It
lines,
absolutely,
does it?
totally makes perfect sense.
Well, like, I can understand Mayark's presentation.
You're not making any
right.
sense right now, Pav. I understand that my logic has trumped your ability to think and function, but it's okay. We don't
Alright,
always
alt-right
win these
centrist.
things.
Look, man, I just work here.
In
I
reality,
have an avatar. I have an avatar.
in reality, if it were to work, if it worked well, then I don't really see a problem with people
If it worked well, like,
using this on the regular. I mean, it would definitely save in the short term, at least. It would probably, because this would be a subscription based thing, right?
Yeah, it'd have to be.
No, they have not. They have not released what.
What kind of monetary scheme it'll be?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably going to be a subscription based live service type thing.
Here, I've found our new avatar for Pig. You guys want to just go to No Pov No?
If it's a no pub, no, I'm already not going.
Yeah, that's not really. Yeah, fuck it, let's do it.
I'm not bringing it up on the
I'm
fucking
having
stream.
sex with my brain.
All right. Show construction. Fucking
Did you break your brain?
no. There, in show construction. That's a much more safe word.
No, because I don't like playing chess. I do like having sex. I don't smoke a pipe. Yes!
Okay.
The fuck?
Yes! Let's do it! My head is
Hell, I
so
was
full
just-
of hot air that I float around in it.
Jesus Christ. And this is why I don't bring things up on stream. Also, speaking of things not working, I can't scroll down on this article.
Ew.
Really?
That's
Well,
okay. It's not really worth reading, honestly.
No, it's
just-
not. Basically,
just look at the-
topic. The topic is fun to talk about, but the article itself, it's stupid long. It's very dry and boring.
Well, just looking at
And
the font.
it's basically this journalist freaking laying on his shoulders in one of those yoga crane positions and then just shooting
bitching
off into
about
his own
how
mouth.
It's basically saying data centers are bad for the planet. So, it's terrible for the planet that we're now moving to a gaming stream service,
I
which
don't think
is
it's terrible for the.
retarded.
Then, by his own logic, hybrid cars are also bad for the
Right.
planet.
So
Well, they
it's funny
kind
because
of are.
he
Well, yeah,
destroys his own.
yeah. I'm not saying they
he
aren't. I'm not implying they aren't. I'm just saying, like, you've made a case for why we shouldn't have hybrid cars.
He's destroyed his own argument by saying the Dallas data centers are a perfect example. Dallas, Oregon. They're located just a mile away from the Dallas Dam, one of the several hydronics plants that can be found along the Columbian River. So, all the power that's going to the Oregon data center for this is coming from a dam. So, like,
So the
is
argument.
mute.
No. Like the argument is that damming up rivers, freaking harms the environment. See, the ultimate goal of these eco-terrorists is for us to go back to a time where we cooked our food over wood burned fires, but take away the wood and the fire.
That must
In
be why
fact-
they're all vegetarians.
Yeah, in fact, any food that you have to cook, you shouldn't eat because it's not natural at that point. You had to kill something to eat it.
Um,
I
And
slow
then,
cook my
like,
food with a
ultimately-
magnifying glass.
Ultimately, they'll push for is that no one eats ever. We just
Because eating is a
absorb
tool of
nutrients. We just
Oh,
absorb
yes.
nutrients directly from the soil and
Because-
absorb energy from the sun to survive.
because
yes,
because
we
eating
use
is a tool.
photosynthesis.
Fucking eating is a tool of white supremacy.
Like Knights of Sidonia. You guys ever watch that anime, Knights of Sidonia?
No, I don't watch anime.
It's an
They,
anime. I
um,
thought it was a song.
No, it's an anime.
Oh.
It's also a song, but it's an anime. Basically,
didn't know this.
people. Fuck. So they have a world ship that is moving towards a different solar system by conventional means, and in order for them to do this whole trip, they have genetically engineered themselves so that they can absorb energy through photosynthesis instead of eating food.
Hmm.
So, like, they still eat food, but the majority of their nourishment comes from
The sun.
from nutrient solutions and light. It's easier to produce light than it is to produce food, by the way.
This is true.
Well, yeah.
Huh.
Okay, back to other stuff.
Moving on.
Yeah. So, I really
don't think
hope
we
we
I-
don't
I
get
don't-
rid of hardware in order to you know force everybody to go over to cloud computing, because that would really suck. But yeah, so I think that's
Anyways.
about my only response to Google Stadia. It's interesting if it works. It hasn't worked in the past. They have some new ways of doing it that is different than well, so it might work this time. It might not. We don't know. But
I just don't think I'd use it. I'm just like, meh. But it,
I
like,
have
looking at the
my
font on
computer
that
at this
sign,
point-
I just think of like an IRL RuneScape, and I'm like, nope, don't want to play that.
well, that's from 1999.
Yeah, and that's about where they'd be, or so it looks like, and I'd just be like, no, I'm gonna go play a real game. Like, not this.
Wait, what do you mean?
I'm being fucking hypothetical.
Oh, okay. Well, I actually pay attention, like know a ton of things about Google Stadia. So when you guys keep making these analogies, God, whatever.
analogies,
Moving on. There's a $70,000 TV.
I just
coming out by Sony.
I saw a remark by Mark. Pigs pretending he's new to gutter mindedness. What's gutter mindedness?
It's almost
does
like
that
he
mean?
lives there.
It's almost like I live here. Pav, as you were saying before I so rudely interrupted you, $70,000 TV where?
Oh, no, that was a joke segue. Sony's releasing a $70,000 8K TV.
Really?
Yeah, no joke.
A TV that costs as much as a fucking car.
$70,000.
Yeah, so it's 98 inches and it's 8K.
But it would have to be 98 inches to be 8K.
No,
We don't
that's
have the
not true.
technology to miniaturize it yet.
That's a stupid ass statement, but all right.
All right, Pav. Go ahead. Explain to me how it's a stupid ass statement.
Can we? Yeah. Here's the thing. We can fit 4K on a 15-inch display.
Uh-huh. That's not true 4K.
That is true 4K.
No, it's not.
It is. Okay. What is the actual pixels of 4K? Pixel.
Freaking
4,000.
No.
no, it's
fight
not
me.
4,000. 4K is just
It's
4K is just
3840 by 2160. Okay.
uh-huh.
All right. We now have a 27-inch 5K monitor. Okay. That's higher.
Are they
If-
actual pixels?
Yes. Why would they be anything but actual pixels? How do
Alright,
you get
do you
non-actual pixels?
do you not remember?
Oh,
do
you
you
mean
not remember-
interlace?
Let
You
me
mean
yes.
interlace?
That's
No.
what. Holy fucking shit, Pav! Are you not remembering
Are
the
you
fact
high?
that we have used less than 1080p in the past to display
no,
quote
no.
unquote 1080p? Are you
Okay.
forgetting this fact?
All right. So 2160p is 2160p. It's progressive scan, not interlace. So it is the actual 3840 by 2160. So the idea that something that big would be the only thing that could display 8K makes no sense to me. Because if you have 4K in a 15-inch, getting like a 30-inch logically would be able to fit 8K. Now granted, we have nothing to drive that 8K. No ports out there support that much pixel. So
Yeah,
you would be
that's true.
correct in stating why the
We
fuck.
do not have the technology to put 8K on a screen smaller than that. That's literally what I said.
If you've ever wanted to see what 720p looks like at 4K, buy this TV.
Yeah.
Because boy, is that shit gonna be grainy. I mean, it is.
That's literally what I said. We might have the capabilities to build a screen that can fit 8,000 pixels on it, but we do not have the technology to actually build a screen smaller than that can consistently display 8K on
We do.
consistently.
We do.
I mean,
It's
how-
32
how-
inches. It's 32 inches, and the resolution is 7680 by 4320, which is the 8K resolution, and it fits on a 32-inch monitor by Dell.
But graphics cards, for instance, don't put out in that aspect ratio.
That's not true. Graphics cards can. There's just no port out there that supports that high with, say, 60 hertz.
You got a link to that monitor really quick?
There.
It's only 5,000. Only. With 1.07 billion colors. Okay.
Yeah, it covers the Adobe RGB and sRGB color gambits, which is really nice. Which makes sense considering this is an 8K display. This is not a display for gaming. This is a display for people like me that make films and edits pictures and does shit like that. So yeah, having something that is 100% coverage of 2 sets of color gambits, and that for $5,000 price tag also makes sense given the fact that this is, yeah, no, I will disagree with you. Now this probably has to be driven by, I don't think this is fucking The Verge. I doubt they'd know. by like 2 DisplayPorts. Because when we first started making 4K monitors, that's how we had to do it with 4K monitors. Is it had to be driven by 2 DisplayPort cables that would basically, one would cover one half of the screen, the other one would cover the other half. I think there was a video by Asus on Newegg that was explaining it. 2013 or something like that, maybe 2012. And it was this. It was a hilarious conversation between the Newegg representative and Asus, like the guy that came down from Asus, and it was just like, oh, so you're basically powering 2 screens just without a bezel in the middle. Yeah, so it's not actually a true 4K. It's I think it was 214 or 2 1080. I don't know if it was 2 1080s.
It's 1080.
Yeah, it was 2 1080s that were flipped on 180 degrees to make up a single 27-inch 4K monitor. Now I don't think they're going that route with this, because in miniaturizing 4K, they've probably come up with better solutions for higher resolutions, especially now that Apple has had their 5K display out for a while now. No, they're yeah. Has more than 33 megapixels and 1 billion colors.
Why?
Again, simply for like editing pictures and video.
Oh.
Trust me, trying to okay, so I've worked with 4.6K footage from Blackmagic Ursa, right? Which is a higher end camera. Not a high end, but higher end. And dealing with it on a 1080p monitor just doesn't look right. You can't you can't represent what that image actually looks like unless you're actually using a 4K display.
I see.
So Red cameras, right? Red cameras for the past 4 years, the consumer version of Red cameras have had 8K as their, I think they're mid, so like 2, 4, 8, and I think that's the highest they've gone to. I don't remember when they introduced 8K into it. I don't remember, for a while their standard was 5. Okay, what is... For a while, IMAX's... The reason why you went to an IMAX was because IMAX screen resolution. I don't know what it currently is. Yes. So IMAX's current native screen resolutions is 12K. And that's because mainly when IMAX came out, they were dealing with film. Not like film as in like, a film, but like the actual way to record onto it. You have film cameras that use film rather than digital. And so when you had those, you had like, I forget the conversion rate, but it was like certain, gosh, I'm having to remember everything that I learned. Like, just not coming to me. You've been muted for a while there, Pig.
Yeah, I was just letting you talk.
Oh, okay. Gosh, where was it? I think it was 7mm? Yeah, 7mm film is 8. Hey, no, I know I'm getting that wrong. 70mm is 70mm is 8. So when you watch an IMAX film that was done with like a 70mm, like say Hateful Eight, what was Hateful Eight was shot on a 70 millimeter camera. We don't really use film cameras anymore. We use digital. So things like the RA Alexa and not you. Um and Reds, which are digital represent. They use digital storage to record to. Whereas film cameras, they literally you're taking a sensor light and you're exposing this film that is extremely sensitive to light to light itself, and it just bakes an image onto the film.
Yeah, I'm familiar with how film works.
Right. So 70 millimeter is not the conversion rates between like with digital you shoot it like 1080, 4K, and all that kind of stuff because it's a digital representation of it. It's the camera itself is digitally recreating what the sensor is seeing. Um, so when you're
But
dealing
with film,
yeah, it's just the image.
yeah, that's
It's
the way
the
it's been forever.
Yeah. And so one of the big things with IMAX is when you watch a film on IMAX, it was using the standard of 70 millimeter rather than something like 4K or 2K or that kind of
Because
stuff.
they were using actual film to record it.
Yeah, that's the reason.
Is-
That's also the reason why they're just so much bigger looking.
Yeah, actual film has always had a better definition to it than something that was digitally shot because of the difference between a chemical imprinting from the exposure of the actual light rather than a digital translation of it.
Hmm.
It's why unfortunately the human eye can't really keep up with sizes bigger than at this point 4K in those smaller sizes.
See, I've heard that, but I've heard that from people who also think that we can't see above like 60 frames per second, which is also scientifically proven to be false. So even though I have no studies to back up saying that I
No, I mean
disagree,
it's
I don't think we can take in.
they're still researching it and everything, but you have to think about like once the screen gets to a certain size, you start losing the benefits of that higher definition because you're focusing on such a small panel, right?
Right.
It's
You're
like
not
it's like
taking
the
in
difference. It's
entirety
like
of
the
that information.
right. It's like taking a big screen movie and squeezing it down onto a screen the size of your phone. Like sure, you're still watching the movie. Still you're still getting the enjoyment of seeing like the big stuff. But the little details you're not going to see. You're not going to see that pen sitting on the other side of the room, right?
Well, okay, okay.
Your brain's not going to be able to make the details of that out.
Um, so
There are exceptions to that. There are people who can actually make out those really
it's
tiny details, but it's our brains just aren't developed to see those tiny details.
that's something that I think is for a different conversation because it's a whole other thing. It sounded like you brought in a few different factors into there that. But the main thing that what I'm thinking about is
Numbers?
when it comes to when it comes to something like an 8K display for say color grading, color correcting. What you're looking at is you're looking at a display that truly has the correct color to the corresponding pixel. So when you take a shot of something, you shoot an image, right? It's pixelizing, right?
It's not the shot I was thinking of.
Yeah. It's pixelized. So, an example would be, let's look at this picture we have in the background, right?
Mm-hmm.
So an 8K version of this image in the background, let's stay hypothetical here. there is more diversity in the blue in that sky, right? Blue
Right.
is a little bit different because there's more pixels. It allows for more accurate representation of what the actual image looks like. Because these kinds of things are never going to capture the complete true to life version of what we look at out in the outside world. That's the reason why you have it. It's not because you're trying to make it so that you can see that pen just sitting on the table across the room. It's so that
You can get the closest representation of that pen.
Yeah, what that pen is supposed to look like because whenever you start messing with an image, you're digitally altering it. And what that ends up doing is it ends up changing the way everything looks. The closer to its original representation that you can have, the more accurately you can tell if you're degrading that image. If that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Not a little bit.
Okay.
You're getting a little too in depth here, buddy.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
It's
I'm a film editor. So.
Well, yeah. You know how you guys like get this whole glazed over look on your faces when I start talking about the refrigeration cycle and the physics of thermodynamics and everything like that?
Yeah.
That just kind of happened to me and Buck when you started talking about this stuff.
Sorry. This is my forte.
It's almost like you know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Almost.
Well, it is 8:00, and we better call it here.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I was gonna say it's 10 after 11 for me.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
and I still have to go
Jesus Christ.
suck the capitalist dick tomorrow morning.
Oh man, see, I
As in
did
go
that
to work.
yesterday. I worked 12 hours yesterday. The closer called out, and they're like, "Yeah,
All
we
right.
got no one to come in, so you're on your own, buddy. You're gonna be here till 10, even though we know you got here at 9 a.m." I'm like, "Oh,
Been there.
Oh, good.
great."
Just what I needed.
I don't get to see anybody on Easter.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Yeah.
So that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight. I know there were portions of it that were quite boring, because we're still refining the changes that we're trying to make the show more interesting for you and for us.
Got to come up with a good
Guys,
outro.
closing arguments. Or not arguments, closing statements.
Lager is okay, I guess.
You guess.
I guess.
Lager is fucking phenomenal.
I tend to stick to either shandies or IPAs. Fight me.
I wouldn't want to break your nails.
Oh, man. Pop?
Don't fall down the rabbit hole of technology. I do it
I
every
can
day.
accept that. I can accept that. Be willing to accept when you're wrong.
Oh, oh.
Oof.
That's a pill I had to swallow tonight.
Oh, man. All
Well,
right.
thank you, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you and good night.
Good night, everybody.